Hello, once again, this is Brother Teacher. I want to thank all of you that take the time out of your day, out of your schedules, and even your busy schedules to watch my videos. Sometimes by happenstance you might find me. Other times it might just be a subject matter or topic that lures you in or draws you to my channel. Whatever your reasons are for stopping by, even if you have been a long time listener and watcher of my videos, whatever your reason may be, I want to let you know that I thank you and I appreciate all of you. Even the naysayers, even the so-called trolls, and I don't like to use that word. But I want you to know that whatever subject matter I might be discussing on any particular video, I want you to always do your research and look into it, especially subject matter that deals with things that we have learned in our so-called institutions and educational systems and so forth, to include government, to include religion. You need to do your own research and be convinced and convicted in your own heart that the things that I'm telling you is in fact true. I want to tell you this also. Never ever will I intentionally misguide or attempt to lead someone astray just for the sake of doing it. I'm way past middle age now, and I don't have time for that. I'm too old for that. My purpose on here is to try to eliminate bad word. It is to try to illuminate, to open up your mind, in other words, to edify you or encourage you if you're going through some hard times in your life, financially, relationship wise, spiritually. And if you just needed to be uplifted, if it's nothing more than just for a moment or a day, that's my purpose. It is to try and share the information based on my own life's experiences and my own studies with those who probably never even considered some of the subjects that I entertain here. But in this particular video, I want to touch on marriage. And I've done a video before about marriage, but this is a different day, and maybe the way in which I express it will be a little bit different. And for those who maybe never watched some of my earlier videos, because I have a lot of videos on this platform and you may have not arrived at it yet, and it might be easier for some to see this being a brand new video to hook up with the particular subject matter of marriage. I'm trying to get you to think, and most of you know that are my regular followers that I'm a spiritual man. I don't subscribe or ascribe to a particular dogma or religion per se. I originally, as a child, started out Baptist, and then through my young adult life, almost up into the present, Pentecostal or Apostolic, for those who are curious. But I don't wear that on my sleeve. I'm a man. I'm a human being. I have feelings, and I have firm belief systems. Been in the military, honorably discharged from the United States Army. I've owned businesses, and I'm a martial arts instructor for many years. I wear a lot of hats, and I share much of my life experiences with you. Now, with that said, I want to touch on marriage just for a moment, and I didn't mean to bore your patience, but my belief on marriage, just in general. I mean, I can go to the Bible But I don't want to beat people down with that all of the time. I usually slide in the scripture to use as a reference, but in this particular instance, I'm just going to get you to think, I hope to, what I believe about marriage, fundamentally. I don't believe that you need a marriage license to become married. I'm trying to get you to think. It's a piece of paper, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a piece of paper. It makes a declaration that two human beings, two individuals have been united. Who needs to see the paper? Ask yourself that question. And generally speaking, at the top of the marriage license, it will state, no pun intended, the state in which you're being married. State of Kentucky, state of Alabama, state of Georgia, state of Florida. Why does the state have to be involved in your marriage? I'm trying to get you to think. Is not a marriage a union between two people? You unite here first. However you met, whenever you met, however long you have been together before you decided to get married, the marriage is between you and your partner. You decide that you love one another, and you should put asunder what anyone else's opinion and viewpoint is. When you have both decided that there are things that you have in common, and that there's things that you accept about one another, and you decide to make it finalized, and a piece of paper doesn't do it. Let me ask you this. Do you carry your marriage license in your purse, ladies, or men, in your wallet, to prove to the world that you're married or you united? I can bet you that the answer is no, because you don't need that to prove to anyone that you're married. Your word should be enough. This is my wife. This is my husband. That's it. And that's all. Now, as it relates to rings, wedding rings. I know some people start out with engagement rings and so forth. That's custom and tradition. Let me ask you this, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't have your ring on, ladies or guys, if you didn't have your ring on, would it mean that you're not married? Something to think about. And I'm trying to get you to think. If you didn't have your ring on, you know you're still married. So why is it a big issue? The ring. Who are we really trying to impress by having weddings, especially very expensive weddings, with all of the bridesmaids and the best men and the flower bearers and so forth, and all of the cake and the hoopla? Do we really need that? Because there's been many marriages that have had the greatest, most expensive ceremonies that have ended in divorce. So what was it all for in the first place? People thought they loved each other, or one of the two thought the other person loved them the same. So now, what about the people that are poor and can't afford expensive diamond rings and bands? Does this mean that they can't go to the ceremony and buy a ring? Because marriage is fair for the poorest individual, the middle class, and the wealthiest. Now, this is what I believe, once two people decide that they love each other, one another, and they want to spend the rest of their natural lives together in peace and harmony, and perhaps even have children. It is only between you, or those two people, and God, the Creator. No one else should influence the decision that you make between the two of you. You can have people come to a ceremony, but you don't have to necessarily have all of the bells and the whistles. You can invite the closest people to you, family members and friends, and you can say that we're going to just have a simple ceremony between ourselves, or you can do it away from everyone else. Never ever be ashamed and feel ashamed that you don't fit the status quo. Just because you don't have the so-called traditional wedding doesn't mean you're not married. Because the moment that you decide that you love one another and that you want to be with one another, you have already connected and you are married. No rings necessary. No cakes necessary. No limousine with cans and streamers hanging behind it. It's necessary. No bridesmaids, ring bearers. None of that is necessary. No throwing bouquets. Not necessary. The only thing that's necessary is you and your companion. That's it. And that's all. The state can stay out of your business. Because if you pay close enough attention, and if you've already experienced this, you'll know it to be true. Anytime you get a traditional wedding where you pay a fee for a marriage license, the state will be in your business from that very day. And unfortunately, if you decide to part, until the day that you decide to depart. So, think about it and let me know what your take is in the comment section below. This is Brother Teacher. Yahweh love you. And I love you. Stay safe.